Today we're looking at the Volkswagen ID.7, the company's first all-electric saloon car. Hello and welcome back to the interface. My name's Alex. This is the ID.7. We're going to take it for a drive and look at the interior. Around the front we've got quite a nice simple design. It looks relatively similar to the other ID models. One criticism I have seen online is that it just looks a bit too plain. Obviously there is a new ID.7 GTX announced in the last few weeks, which looks a lot more impressive on the exterior, and it's also four-wheel drive. We've got a light bar on the front here and the black and white Volkswagen badge. That's what the ID models do now have. And then on the front we've got IQ Light, which is Volkswagen's in-house matrix LEDs. On the front here we've got a camera, which is useful for pulling into spaces. You can see exactly what's in front of you, and there's also a rear camera as well. And we've got a bank of sensors at the bottom there, which looks quite out of the way, which is quite good. The bonnet itself is actually quite short in comparison to other electric saloon cars I've seen. So like the 5 Series, the i5's got quite a big bonnet, but because this is a bespoke EV from the ground up, we have got quite a short bonnet, which makes manoeuvring it a little bit easier. It is quite a big car, about 5 meters long. For the interior of the ID.7, Volkswagen have done a fantastic job. It's really premium, really good quality. Everything's really well screwed together. You've got soft materials on the dash here. You've got a nice Alcantara material on the side here. You've got cloth lined door pockets. You've also got a massive panoramic sunroof on the ID.7. There's no blind to close the glass itself, but you have got a slider here to enable and disable the opaque, basically frosted glass effect. So you have to sort of swipe this and it becomes opaque and it becomes clear as well, which is fantastic. Really, really clever. The new ID Buzz long wheelbase has got that feature, which is quite cool. But the main star of the show on the ID.7 is its massive 15-inch infotainment system. Got wireless Apple CarPlay. There's a really clever satellite navigation system on this screen as well. We've got DAB radio, all sorts of information. It's a little bit complex when you get to use it for the very first time. It's not overly intuitive. So you've got the slider controls from the ID.3 and the new Golf on there as well. I did see some initial pictures of this little screen here when the ID.7 was initially revealed back in January. I didn't think much of it, but in practice, this little driver's display is so good. It doesn't take up much space. You can see it whatever position you've got the steering wheel in. And if you can't somehow see that, you have got a brilliant heads-up display, which has got so much information. You've got speed limit, you've got, if you're drifting out of lane, you've got the directions for the satellite navigation, even if you're using CarPlay as well, which is really good. So if your passenger is controlling the media on this screen, you've still got information on the heads-up display of where you need to go. You've also got on the right-hand side, you've got miles per kilowatt hour, so the efficiency. This car is on 73%. It's been tootling around most of the day. It's on 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, and it still says 244 miles of range. So that's decent. In the central section here, obviously this is a bespoke EV from the ground up. We have got a massive amount of storage underneath here. So there's a good tray underneath there for a lot of items and things. Got a relatively shallow space here. We've got a phone pad here, 2 USB-C ports, and we've got these little sliders to hide everything out of the way, so it keeps it all clean. We've also got 2 cup holders here, really good size. And then this button here opens up the central armrest, and there's so much space in there. So you can see it goes up to my elbow, basically. That's fantastic. And there's these little trays as well, so you can pop items in the middle there if you need to as well. One design on the ID.7 I do like is the blue line that runs through the entire interior. So you've got a blue line on the door here, continues all the way on the dash onto the other door, and then all around these gorgeous seats as well. So these seats have got ID sort of dotted inside the back of the seat there. They're really well sculpted. They're electronic as well. They're called ergo active seats. But this material is like Alcantara, but it's got breathable materials. They are massage seats as well, which is really nice, but they're really good quality. They just hug you in your seat really well. It's a big old thing, the ID.7, but it's better off for it. It's just brilliant. But overall, the interior quality and fit and finish of the ID.7 is way above my expectations.
Around the side, the ID.7 is pretty stylish. Simple lines, and it has a pretty nice profile. For alloys, this one is sitting on 19 inches, and for now, these are the only size available. For charging, the ID.7 has a 77 kWh battery pack, offering 383 miles of range. The ID.7 will have an 86 kWh battery pack in some other trims, and that can charge up to 200 kW, whereas this one tops out 170 kW.
In the back seat to the ID.7, there is so much space. As you can see, I've got so much legroom, really, really good amount of space. It feels like a big luxury limo. It's absolutely amazing. This seat is set up for my driving position. I'm about 5'7". I have got it set back further than I usually would, just purely because it's an electric car and I haven't got to reach the clutch. But even still, there is so much space. So I don't think you have any problem with transporting some big 6-foot people in the back of here. We've got a good amount of visibility at the back here. The door card is quite low down, so you can get a good amount of window visibility. Got the massive panoramic sunroof above your head, which brings in tons of light, which is really nice. And then the back seats are the same sort of design as the front seats. So we've got this nice blue sort of thread that goes across the whole design. We've got Alcantara material on the headrest as well, which is nice. And then the central section here, we've got a little tiny touch panel with heated seats for the rear seats there, and then 2 USB-C ports for charging devices. In the middle of the bench, there's an armrest with 2 big cup holders, which is quite nice. They're quite rubber and lined. And then there is a handle here, and you can load items through if you need to. So you can get pieces of wood or skis or pool cues, for example, all the way through the back of the vehicle, and you can reach your hand right into the boot if you need to. So to close that back up, all you need to do, there we go. Around the back of the ID.7, there isn't really much going on. I can see why some people might think that the rear of the car is not as interesting. We haven't got a rear wiper on this particular model, which is quite a downgrade. Even with a little bit of rain today, it's been a little bit tricky to see out the back. We've got a little VW logo, which doesn't actually have a handle built in. We have got a handle under here to lift up the rear boot. We've got this diamond pattern here, which is quite nice. And then we've also got the big brake lights and quite a plain design. It's also quite aerodynamic as well. So I think VW are quite proud of the fact this is quite an aerodynamic car and quite an efficient car as well. And then there's a huge amount of space back here. It's about 500 litres. I'll put the exact number on screen, but it's a massive amount of space. You can probably lie down in there if you wanted to. Under here, there's a little bit of a false floor. All the charging cables that come with the car. You can lift that all the way up if you want to. And then you can get to it, the extra storage underneath there, sort of the repair kit, and there's also a subwoofer, it looks like. So overall, really good amount of boot space in there. You'd have no problem getting items in there. Volkswagen have also included a net cover thing, so you can sort of tie down different things in the back there, but a really practical amount of space. If you do want more space, there is the ID.7 Tourer as well, which now comes in GTX form too. So to close the boot, there's a button up there. Just hold that in. It should beep at you. It'll close by itself. First thing you notice with the ID.7 is how quiet the entire cabin is. It's really smooth and soft to drive, and I think Volkswagen have done a really good job of keeping everything sort of soundproofed and really sort of dampened quite well. This steering wheel is really comfortable to use actually, and the regen on the car isn't actually the most strongest. You have got a B mode to kick it into, but it's not a full replacement for sort of one pedal driving, which is a bit disappointing. What we have got actually is quite a nice driving response. We've got a heads-up display, which shows you a lot of information, as I mentioned in the interior section. Driving around town, it's actually quite easy. If you've got a destination set in Apple CarPlay, those directions will be implemented on the heads-up display here. And then you have got basically what you've got on this screen here implemented on the heads-up display while you're driving as well, which is quite easy to use and quite sort of a very natural experience as well. But as I said, one thing you do notice, it's just so sort of serene and quiet, and sort of a very calm thing to drive. The regen mode could be a little bit stronger, to be honest. It needs to be sort of a little bit more aggressive, and having a one pedal mode would be quite a nice thing to have. But overall, it's a lovely thing to drive, and I think you get on really well with it if you're in the market for a big EV. It is massive. It is 5 meters long, about 5 meters long. I put all the dimensions on screen, but overall, it's a relatively easy thing to park. We have got a camera on the front and a camera on the rear. And it does make it seem a little bit easier to sort of get around, but overall, it's pretty good. Acceleration is really, really impressive actually, considering the weight of this thing. It's such an impressive thing when it accelerates. They've done a really impressive job with the performance of the ID.7. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen today. This has been a very quick look at the new Volkswagen ID.7. Hopefully we can get our hands on the ID.7 for a longer period of time to give our full in-depth impressions. If you like what we do, don't forget to like this video to let others know that you enjoyed this content. Subscribe to the Interface Cars. I've been Alex, and we'll see you again next time.